Tony, it is a good idea to borrow and invest.
Now, that's a really good question. Many people think it's not wise to borrow to invest money, particularly in shares, for example. But I beg to differ because there can be many tax advantages of doing it as long as you don't borrow too much. So let's say, for example, you got a portfolio of shares and you wanted to borrow some money. Let's say you borrowed 50%. I wouldn't go too mad. Those shares, if they're typical shares in the UK or the US, you might be making 3 or 4% a year income from those in the form of dividends. Now, if you take out a loan, there are certain specialist lenders that allow you to borrow. You pay a higher interest rate than the 3%. You might pay in the UK maybe 6%. But remember, you're only borrowing 50%. So the 6% on 50% is equivalent to the 3% on the 100%, if that makes sense. The amount of money you're receiving in dividends will meet the loan repayments. So I think it can be a very wise thing to do, but you'd have to have a good portfolio of shares, not high risk shares, probably investing in, say, a tracker fund or something that's fairly conservative that produces dividends. And therefore, you've also got other advantages, such as saving capital gains tax because you haven't sold the shares, or when you die, saving inheritance tax. The wealthiest people in the world, many of them borrow money right up until the grave, but poor people want to pay off all their debts before they retire. Well, rich people have got an idea here that does work. As long as you can comfortably meet the borrowing costs, it can be highly tax efficient and you'll get better investment returns long term. Because you sell your shares, pay capital gains tax, you've got less wealth, haven't you? And capital gains tax in the UK doesn't apply when you die, but inheritance tax does. So you can borrow, you've got to find the right specialist lender that would do it. I think as long as you don't borrow too much, you're sensible about it, I think it can be a tremendous way of building your wealth for the future.